The information provided on this website and in our communications does not constitute financial advice and as such should not be relied upon. We recommend speaking to a qualified mortgage advisor to assess your individual circumstances before making any decisions. Your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up with payments on your mortgage.
Next question. Let's have it. Still loving it outside here, even though it's grey clouds there. Let's have a look. I'm borrowing money from my mum for the deposit. That's okay, right? That, can't say how common that is. Okay. In the short answer, the answer is no. Okay, no. Borrowing money, I can only think of one lender who will actually, in the UK at the minute, will actually allow a personal loan to act as a deposit source. So borrowing money from from a family member for a deposit is not usually permitted. Well, it's not permitted. And the reason being is because the word borrow implies that you're going to be paying it back. So when the affordability calculation is all done by the lender, and they work out what you can afford and what the monthly payments are going to be, if all of a sudden you borrowed £25,000 to pick a figure out of the air off your mum, at some point your mum's going to want that back. So the lender will want to know, well, how's that going to work? How are you going to be paying that back? What's the monthly outgoing? What's the annual outgoing? Is she going to charge interest? Will she have any interest over the property to secure the 25,000? So it becomes a mess. So generally, you can't borrow money from relatives for a deposit. Different thing with a gifted deposit. So parents, and in some cases friends, depending on the lender, relations can give money to help support a mortgage deposit. That's absolutely no problem at all. Usually just a form to fill in and a declaration to say that they have no interest over the property. But gifts are okay, but borrowing money from relatives for a deposit is not acceptable. Good job I've got a windshield on because this wind's really picking up. Let's have the question. Why is my Help to Buy loan more than I borrowed in the first place? Very, very straightforward mathematical answer. So if you bought your house on a Help to Buy scheme, the deposit contribution tended to be either 20 or 40%. So the agreement was, or the agreement that was set up is with the Help to Buy, is that 20%, let's just say you did 20% for the first 5 years. So after 5 years, what happens is the Help to Buy loan then kicks in, or kicked in, because they don't do them now at the moment. Well, they're thinking of restarting them up in some small way. So you make an administration payment, and let's just say you pay £300,000 for a property, and over that 5 years, okay, in the 5 years, or however long it may be that you come before you remortgage or sell, then hopefully the property will have increased in value. So if you borrowed 20% of that £300,000, so you borrowed £60,000, in 5 years' time, let's just say the property is worth £320,000, then you would owe £64,000 because it's the 20% of the new value. So that's why you will actually owe more than what you originally borrowed, unless of course you've made payments off the Help to Buy scheme during the first 5 years, which are allowed lump sum payments, usually a minimum of 10% to pay off if you haven't. But if you haven't done that, then that's the reason why what you owe is actually more than what you borrowed in the first place. It's because your house has gone up. So you've gone up 80% and the Help to Buy people have gone up 20% in that case. Right, I think we're just about to get rained on, so no more outside. I think we need to repose to the office. Next question. Why won't my bank grant a loan that matches their online affordability calculator on their website? Oh yeah, I think if I had £1 for every time I'd ask that question from the broker website, I'd probably have about 10 quid by now, to be fair. It's really, really tricky because you have to bear in mind that they try and be as accurate as they can, but by their nature, people they want a quick answer. So a quick answer, quick affordability. How much am I going to borrow? It's only once it comes time to look at what's needed and what's required and what your circumstances are. Sometimes those things are different. So, for instance, just to pick a scenario, let's just say you're a self-employed person and you know that you earned £50,000 last year. So you put £50,000 in the online calculator, and then it works out with your outgoings, what have you. You can borrow X amount, £250,000. There you go. Now, when it comes time to do the application, that £50,000 that you put in might not match the criteria of the lender. So, for instance, they may say, well, what we do, we take an average of your last 2 years income. So if year one it was £20,000, year two £50,000, they'll average that at 35. So that might account for the difference. It can be many things that impact it, but it can be quite frustrating, which again, back to it, it's always better to speak to a broker because they tend to have a bit more affordability, a bit more accuracy in their affordability calculations because they have access to hopefully a whole of market. So yeah, that's the reason.